This episode is sponsored by the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. June's featured entertainment includes Skillet on the 28th and Pete Davidson on the 29th. Details and tickets at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Five-time Grammy-winning opera legend Renée Fleming has penned the new book, Music in Mind, Harnessing the Arts for Health and Wellness. She joined me to discuss the intersection between the arts, health, and neuroscience, as well as memories of being honored at the most recent Kennedy Center honors. Hey, Renée Fleming. Hey, thanks for joining us on WTOP in Washington, D.C.
My pleasure. Great to be with you.
Yeah, our listeners will know your name and have seen you probably many times at the Kennedy Center, maybe your Voices series, or maybe just at the Kennedy Center honors. But we're talking to you because, the opera legend and five-time Grammy-winning Renée Fleming is out with a new book called Music in Mind, Harnessing the Arts for Health and Wellness. Before we get to that, I want to double back to the Kennedy Center honors really quick because that just happened. But what was it like being there, sitting in the balcony with Billy Crystal and Barry Gibb and Queen Latifah and Dionne Warwick? Like, that's a murderer's row of icons right there. But man, what was that experience like?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, really not to be matched. I mean, so exciting. I know the honors well because I'm an advisor to the Kennedy Center and have sung in them 5 times and attended many times. And so to be up there was intimidating and fantastic.
Any good behind the scenes things that we didn't get to see in the program? Like, we got to see all the opera singers pay tribute to you and all that, but anything like any funny, I don't know, quips by Billy Crystal sitting there, or you know what I mean, Queen Latifah make a comment or something?
You know what? Billy Crystal I think he was overwhelmed by the whole experience. He was pretty low key for the weekend. Queen Latifah was amazing. I fell in love with her family too. They're all, fabulous people. And Dionne Warwick is, an idol. So I was excited to talk to her. So nothing. The only thing that I think is worth sharing is that we don't know what the tributes are going to be. Right. So I was stunned by my tribute to have, Sigourney Weaver and Christine Baranski, those fabulous singers, and Titus Burgess. It was amazing.
That is one of the coolest parts. I'm sure for the honorees like yourself, but then for us, the viewers, either in the auditorium or at home too, because you never know. And it's ladies and gentlemen, Lady Gaga. You never know who's going to come out. It's incredible.
Right. It's great. It's really, I love the way they do it, actually. And I love that we get to just enjoy. We don't have to perform or give a speech.
Right. Like most ceremonies, you probably are nervous the whole time trying to remember what you're going to say and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know. You can't really enjoy it.
It's a lifetime achievement thing. So you should be able to sit back and just, enjoy it. And Led Zeppelin should get to sit and watch Heart sing Stairway to Heaven. You know what I mean? That might be my favorite. But all right,
that was a great one. That was incredible. I was there. That was amazing.
Oh, you were in the room for that?
I was, yeah.
Man, yeah. Everyone listening to this, look that up on YouTube right now. Well, actually, look up the ceremony for you and Billy and Queen Latifah and everybody too. It was a great lineup. All right, cool. Well, thanks for opening with that. You got deep Kennedy Center ties, so I figured we'd open with that. But let's talk about the real reason you're here, which is to talk about your new book. It's called Music in Mind: Harnessing the Arts for Health and Wellness. When does it come out?
It's been out. It came out in mid-April, and it's going along at a nice clip. It's a beautiful kind of testament to the power of the arts for health and wellness.
Yeah, what inspired you to sort of do that? I mean, I know it's sort of been a cause for you for a while, but why pen to paper now?
I sort of feel like I'm the advocate or chief cheerleader, and so I wanted to share more of the work with the public. And so I thought an anthology would be a good way to do it, to call on 41 different people to kind of share their work as either researchers or creative arts therapists or artists, and major institutions as well, like the Kennedy Center and Carnegie Hall, and of course the National Institutes of Health.
So you're saying this book is sort of a collection. You said it's like 41 different experts in various things. It could be musicians or scientists or healthcare providers or teachers or, so you're basically just sort of picking the brains of all these great minds, including NIH, you said?
Yeah. Well, Francis Collins writes the foreword. And we have a couple of different institutes from the NIH, one integrated medicine, which is really key to this, and of course also aging. So people can kind of pick and choose their topics. You know, childhood development and education are in there, various therapeutic uses, the future. We've got really amazing futuristic chapters on what this is going to look like down the road. And so it's a good reference, I would say, and a
It's sort of
great
the
holiday gift. Just saying.
oh, a holiday gift. All right, yeah, I'd pick up a copy of
Yeah,
that
any
one.
for any music lovers, because most of it's music, because that's
Right,
really where I
sure.
live. And but you've also got architecture and theater and visual arts as well.
Great. Is the idea sort of that, trying to dig into the neuroscience and how the creative arts and music especially can sort of, I guess, unlock parts of our brains and it's sort of finding the health benefits and mental health benefits of music. Is that sort of the crossover?
Yeah, mental health, pain, sort of movement disorders like Parkinson's and MS, but also traumatic brain injury, stroke. And definitely, as I said, if kids are engaged with this work, they do better in school and their brains change after just 2 years. So there are a lot of benefits, but one of the things that's changed it is technology. We can all measure this now. I had an fMRI experiment at the NIH myself, and so what this means is that there will be enough proof and rigorous research to make a case for embedding this in healthcare.
Music in the Mind is also something you've been touring in 50 cities around the world or whatever. Like, it's not just this book. It's an ongoing sort of mission for you, a project that you've been touring with, I assume, in recent
Yeah.
years. Like, and isn't there a neuroarts blueprint at Johns Hopkins here locally in Baltimore?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, definitely I've been touring it because I've been touring a project actually with National Geographic about climate change, singing, performing. But alongside that, I always offer a music and mind presentation. So I get to learn and bring the audience also information from local researchers and healthcare providers, plus the performing arts. So we all band together and work together. So that's really been exciting. But NeuroArts Blueprint is really an incredible initiative from Susan Mag Salmon and Ruth Katz. It's Johns Hopkins, but also the Aspen Institute, and it's a much larger umbrella that includes all of our aesthetic experience. It starts with being out in nature, or the visual arts, or theater, any aesthetic
Yeah.
experience, and getting people to do art on their own and do it for fun.
Wow. That's fantastic. And the just so folks know, the National Geographic thing you mentioned was it was called Voice of Nature, and I don't know how to pronounce that. How do you say Anthropocene?
The Anthropocene.
Anthropocene. Yes.
Yes.
All right,
That's
cool.
the American pronunciation. If you're British or Canadian, it's Anthropocene. So not to
Anthropocene.
confuse you.
When you're a dumb American like me, it's Anthropocene, and I butcher it 3 times, but I'll let you, I'll have you say it. All right. And yeah, it was one of your Grammy winning albums. And now I guess you sort of took that on the road with National Geographic. That's really cool.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Well, whenever I have a legend like yourself on, I always I mean, you're one of the most famous voices in opera we have, in the world today. So I always love to sort of just remind folks how you got into it to begin with. You grew up in what, Pennsylvania? It was Indiana, Pennsylvania, sort of is it near Johnstown-ish? Is that right?
Well, I was born in Indiana, and my grandparents lived near Johnstown. But I actually grew up in Rochester, New York. We
Okay,
moved
okay.
there when I was really young. So my parents were both high school vocal music teachers. So I've sort of said I'm an indentured servant all these years because I got it all from them. And I thought everybody sang. I thought every family kind of, went down the road and sang the street signs together in harmony.
Gotcha. So you were
But
more
so
of a
I,
Rochester raised. Okay. So did they have garbage
yeah,
plates back then? That restaurant?
they did. Oh my gosh, they sure did.
All
Very
right.
famous. Only closed recently, in fact.
All right.
But I just kept going with it. And my parents expected me to become teachers like them, but I
Yeah.
sort of liked the practice and the singing part.
Awesome. And where did you actually decide to pursue it, more serious? Like where did you study, I guess is what I'm saying?
Well, I was very lucky to be in the state university system of New York. So I started there, and then I went to the University of Rochester, Eastman School of Music, and then I had a Fulbright scholarship. I recommend this to all young people. If you can study abroad, do it. It's really life changing. And then I was at Juilliard. I ended up at Juilliard, which was great. I had a long education.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, your career, it's so vast and prolific. Like it's almost daunting to even figure out how we would even touch on all of the highlights. But do you of the five Grammy winning wins, which one is there one that is closest to your heart that you were extremely proud of?
Oh gosh, not really. I mean, I would say just winning the Grammy is amazing. You know, that's something that's so exciting because my discography is pretty broad, and I've touched on Broadway
Yeah.
and jazz and also rock. I did a rock album called um, I'm blanking. It's not Haunted Heart. That's the jazz one. See, this is what happens when you record for a really long time. You don't
Yep.
even remember what you did in the past. But Dark Hope. It's called Dark Hope.
There you go.
So yeah, it's been really wonderful. But frankly, I'm loving the recent one because it has a message that we all need, which is take care of the planet.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what's that one called again? Plug it for folks to go pick it up.
Yeah, that's Voice of Nature, the Anthropocene.
Yes, that's the Net Geo one. Remind them, you mentioned you actually, were you worked in Broadway. Remind us, I think you even earned a Tony nomination in 2018.
Yes. Yeah, that was Carousel. It was a really fabulous experience. 8 shows a week, which is a totally different type of lifestyle than what I do, which is I'm on the road all the time touring.
Yeah.
And, I got to get to know the community, the Broadway community. I call it the city within the city.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it. And the other city within the city on the other coast, Hollywood, you've contributed to that as well. You've sang songs on, I mean, I'm a big movie guy, and your voice is
Uh,
in what? The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, some songs on
yes.
there, and The
Yeah.
Shape of Water, two Best Picture winners actually. Now that I think about it. So, what
Yeah, it
was it
was
like getting
really
to work
fun.
in that realm?
Oh, it's so interesting. I've done three or four others too, and it was fascinating to see what the process is. I mean, for Lord of the Rings, they were recording the orchestra during the day and then had a video feed so they could listen to my recording sessions at night in New York. And it's a whole different level of technology. And also, frankly, in the experiences I had, they really were able to pull out all the stops. When I make a recording, it's so expensive with an orchestra that you only have 3 or 4 sessions and that's it.
Yeah.
Film, it's whatever you need. So yeah, I loved it and enjoyed it a lot. And frankly, being the voice of Gollum, because in the last moment in the third film, when he has the ring in his hand, that's my voice. And I
Wait, are
think,
you kidding me?
no,
It's not so Andy Serkis just taps out for a moment and it's like, you take it, Renee.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Did you
Dare
get,
I ask you to do the voice on this?
it's so hard. I would have to be really warmed up. It's too
All
early in
right,
the morning.
I won't put you on the spot. I'll do my precious. That's the best I can do. But that's your voice falling in the Mount Doom or whatever.
Well, I'm
That's
singing. I'm singing behind him. Yeah, I think it's all on YouTube, the excerpts, but it's
that's
really
great.
beautiful music. What a big success that film was.
Unbelievable. Well, that's a pivot into the hours, because folks will remember with what was it, Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman and was it Julianne Moore, I think. There
Right.
aren't you doing a version of that Oscar-winning movie? You're gonna do
Yes.
an opera of that. What, like this summer, this spring?
Yeah, no, we just finished it actually at the Metropolitan Opera, and it was such a huge hit, especially with young people. We had a whole new audience come to the Met for the show because there were so many relevant themes, suicide and struggles of women and LGBTQ relationships, and so it really drew a whole different audience.
That's crazy. Speaking of a different audience, I think you're the first classical artist ever to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl in 2014. So that's talked about a different audience that maybe not, let's face it, some football fans probably had never experienced opera. So what's it like getting to go in a national worldwide telecast like that in front of a bunch of football fans? Like you grew up in what, Buffalo Bills territory. Sorry about the four in a row
Right.
that you lost in the early 90s, including once to our DC football team, by the way. Go Joe Gibbs. But yes, getting to show this wonderful art form to a new audience like football fans there.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, Vera Wang made a gown for me that's now in the Smithsonian Museum. And just singing for 110 million people live with Black Hawk helicopters above and a 6 second delay on the screen. It takes a certain kind of a nerves of steel and focus. But I was really thrilled to be able to do it.
Absolutely. Well, We probably have to leave it there. I can list some of the other. I mean, you got the National Medal of Arts from Barack Obama in 2012. You've sang at the Nobel Peace Prize and Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee at Buckingham Palace for any Bridgerton fans. But yes, it's you've done it all, seriously. So it's an incredible career, and keep it going. And
Thank you. Thank you.
everyone pick up the new book. It's called Music and Mind: Harnessing the Arts for Health and Wellness. It's out now. Great holiday gift. Renée Fleming, thanks for joining us on WTOP here in DC.
Thank you so much, Jason. Fabulous interview.
All right. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.